Welcome to another edition of Rivals. We're your hosts, Scott Mitchell and Jason Buck here. And of course, we have to talk about this crazy win by the University of Utah over the perennial power of the Pac-12, the USC Trojans. Utah dominated this game in all three phases. In fact, for the first time since the Pac-12 expanded to 12 teams, Utah had all three of the players of the week from special teams, offense, and defense. It was a completely dominant performance by Utah. Utah is the number one defense in the Pac-12 in rushing and passing defense, in passing efficiency, scoring defense. They are kind of it. And of course, we wanted to talk to Jason today about the defensive line. So I know you saw Utah early on in the season, Jason. In fact, at the NIU game, which was the second game of the year. Kind of give me some of your impressions about that game, what you thought about the defensive line.
You know, early in the season, I thought the defensive line was not getting off their blocks. And they weren't even getting that great a push, on the pocket. And you've got to have, you've got to be able to get to the quarterback with your four bigs. I mean, if you're going to run four-man front, you've got to get there without bringing scheme. And what I saw early in the season is, Utah was having to bring, a scheme to get pressure on the quarterback. So, for them to get that problem fixed and really hit that in the mid-season where you're getting your bigs performing and getting to the quarterback and getting the push, that's huge. I mean, that's huge. So right now, mid-season, I think, you're playing like that, and you just, sky's the limit, because as long as you stay healthy, you got this much momentum really at the perfect time, to finish off the last leg of the season and then, get that Pac-12 championship game.
So there are four regular conference games left in the season. UCLA, Arizona State are away, then home against Oregon, and then at Colorado. My question to you, Jason, is how important do you think a defense is to winning a championship? Because Utah literally is, in my opinion, the best team in the Pac-12, North and South. I mean, they are just playing phenomenal. They've scored 40 or more points in the last three games, which has never happened to them in the Pac-12. Yeah. But the defense has been really consistent all year long. How important is that defense to this team winning a championship?
Well, I mean, it's everything. I mean, it really is. I mean, a great offense can put on the points, which is great. And a great offense usually makes great defense, right? But, man, to have that powerful a defense and really, which, Kyle's always had great defenses. But now it looks like the offense is clicking with Kyle's great defense. And now you got an offense that's going to put 40 points on the board. And plus, an awesome defense that really puts you in great field position, creates the turnovers, is so intimidating. It really changes the momentum of the game. So I think Utah is sitting in the best position they've ever sat in.
How important was it to you as a defensive player when your offense you just knew was going to go out and score? Because that's really what's happened. And Utah's won its last three games. Of course, it played really well against Washington State for three quarters. You might argue that they gave Washington State that game. They had Britton Covey had a punt return that was called back on a very questionable call for a touchdown. Utah was actually driving and got some really questionable calls on some holding penalties, and it just really kind of killed their last opportunity to score. But it just felt like Utah was actually the better team. They at Washington State, who's now 6-1, who's sitting, shared for the lead in the Pac-12 North, might be the best team, and Utah actually held them to their lowest point total of the season so far. So how important is it to you as a defensive player that your offense goes out and is potent and scores touchdowns?
Oh, potent, scores touchdowns, eats up the clock, right, and then doesn't create a bunch of turnovers. If you have a high-powered offense that's really throwing the ball, you generally count on, some more turnovers than you do on a real run control offense. But, man, you can't be on the field all day. It just wears the defense out. So, I mean, the difference between playing 80 snaps of defense in a game and 60 snaps in a defense in a game because the offense is efficient, eating up the clock, putting points on the board, not creating turnovers, I mean, that is huge. That's huge. I mean, if you can have that kind of offense without the turnovers, it's really controlling the game and putting points on the board without, I mean, you can live with the 1 or 2 turnovers, but if you keep it down to 2 or less, man, and an offense is really running it, so it keeps your plays down in the 60s on defense. That's less opportunities for the other team's offense. I mean, you're killing it.
What does it mean to you when you have a defensive line? So they're essentially 4 deep at the defensive tackle. So Utah runs a 4-man line. So they're 4 deep at tackle, and Max Tupai has now come on at the end. So they're kind of 3 and 4 deep at the defensive end position. What does that depth mean to you as a defensive lineman? And when I say depth, any one of these guys could start and play every down, and they have the ability to rotate guys through the entire game.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what the game has become. Like, back in my day, I never came off the field, just never did. But when you have that much depth and you can rotate and keeps guys fresh, because the defense runs on such a high motor. And an offense can keep a defense out on the field, they just wear them down. And when you have that much depth, that is key to maintaining a great pass rush. When you have a good rotation going in and you have those the 2s that can come in and perform and get to the quarterback, and that's a fantastic combination right there. It's hard to beat.
And what do you think about, it's going to be crazy, and I have come out and publicly said this, and I don't know if I should or not. Does Utah play in the Rose Bowl this year? Isn't that a crazy statement?
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
Because you know what? They're honestly, everything I see right now is a team with, from Stanford on, because before that, you're like, man, they got all this talent. Watch them at NIU, and you're like, oh, they got to fix some things and they got to correct some things, and are they going to do it? And is that leadership going to pop forth, and so they can turn the corner? And it really looks like they've turned the corner. And you're getting the points, like you said, and the defense, the front 4 are getting pressure where they're not, doing it with a scheme like they were early in the season. They're getting off blocks. It looks like the coaching staff are really dialing them in, and they're healthy, and they got momentum right at the right time in the season. I think you are legit saying they got a chance for the Rose Bowl, and it's good to talk about it right now.
All right, well, this round of rivals is now over.
Oh, man. I'm not ready to say goodbye, Scott.
You're not ready? Well, we'll come and do another episode. How's that?
Okay. All right. Off to our corners.
All right. I'm not Jason Buck.
I'm not Scott. Wish I was.
I know. It's a hard thing. Maybe you can rent me for a weekend or something. I don't know. We'll work something out.
Okay.
All right. You can text Rivals to 65537. Go to all those social sites right there in the corner. Like us. Dial us in on that phone of yours, and we will catch you soon.